UFC 215 is coming. And I'll tell you what, we got some great fights on this card. And I am, again, I've had Mitch on before. I'm honored to have Mitch Clarke on. Nothing but respect for this killer right here with a smile and a beard. Don't let it fool you. Mitch, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing quite well. How are you doing?
You know what? I can always complain. It just doesn't help at all. So I stop. Now let me ask you something, Mitch. Listen, every fight is a big fight. But you've got this fight with Alex White, and this is a big fight. I mean, you want to come in there and show and dominate and finish this fight.
Yeah, the big thing is I'm coming off a couple losses, but I think the big thing for me is with the new matchmaker, the new ownership. It really makes a big difference if you can go out there and make a big statement, and that's definitely the plan, for me at least, Yeah.
Well, it's about going in there to finish the fight and being entertaining and giving all you got. And you have a lot of guys that there's so much on the line. You can't blame someone for doing what it takes just to win. But for the promotion and for the fans, you really want to give all you got in there. And that's something that you've always done, Mitch. And it's cost you a couple times. But you're a killer. You are a killer. You go in there every time to finish. You're a fan favorite. And, I love to watch you compete. Let me ask you something. You're training now at Jackson's and Winkeljohn's gym, correct?
Yeah, I'm down in Albuquerque at Jackson Wink right now. So it's a great experience so far.
It's got to be, what is it like to go from, and listen, Canada is one of the biggest MMA fan bases and producers of talent in the world. But what is it like to go from where you were training to a place like Jackson Winkeljohn with so much press and so many different elite fighters? What is that like?
What it does is it just allows you to elevate your game on a really quick, have a quick turnaround on progress. You're surrounded by tremendous coaches in so many different fields. We have a judo guy who went to World for judo. We have so many black belts. We got, Greg Jackson, Winkeljohn. And then that's not even including Brandon Gibson, Frank Lester, Chad Smith, the wrestling coach. And there's so many good wrestling coaches, but Chad's my guy. And, and the training partners, just the volume of excellent training partners. Because people from all over the world come here to get better. And, it's a big deal. And it really, the other thing, too, that not a lot of people realize is the elevation. The elevation changes everything. It's quite high up here. So the first about 10 to 14 days, you're kind of lagging behind. And it pays dividends in the end, but you got to realize that there's a little bit of a steep learning curve. I feel tremendously lucky to be here, to have a spot here, and to work with the guys and coaches and that I get to. I love coming down here. Everyone here is super welcoming and super great.
Well, listen, the elite, that's where the elite go. The best in the world, that's where they go. But you mentioned something I got to touch on, Mitch, because I've felt that before, which is being so gassed you can't defend yourself. That's the worst feeling I've ever had in my life. When you got there, were you prepared for the difference in the altitude? Because it is just a little under Denver. It's not a mile high, but it's pretty damn high, and it is really thin air, not much oxygen. How did that feel? Were you ready for it?
The first time I came here last year, I was not prepared for the elevation. I'm in good shape. I take care of myself and I work hard. But that first time you start doubting yourself. You're like, am I terrible? Is it just that I'm just terrible at fighting? And I know that's not true, but this time I was a little bit more prepared, and also knew that there was going to be that learning curve with the elevation. I was lucky. I was working a lot with the university wrestling team and with my coaches back home. and they really got me in shape beforehand, and that kind of like made the elevation a little bit easier to deal with. But it's still terrible. It's still awful to deal with.
Yeah, definitely. And, you say wrestling, and I immediately cringe because that is the most grueling, taxing, beat you up sport that there is. And you see so many guys that are able to transition into wrestling that have a background like you do, a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and you've worked years to get that. And it's one of those things that once you get it, it's kind of like, oh no, triple threat, because you've changed your game, right? I mean, you're working with Winkeljohn now. So can you speak to the changes in the game?
I really connect well with Mike Winkeljohn. He's a great striking coach. He sees a lot of things that I do well, and I just need to use them. You know what I mean? Like, and he, I don't want to give away too much, but he realizes that I got some juice, I got power, I move well, and I'm not like I'm a thinking fighter, so I use setups to trick people into what I want to do, and then that's the big thing, is him seeing that and understanding that as a coach is a big deal. So it's about getting the win, but I think he's definitely given some more tools to work with to set up the wins, however it may happen.
Yeah. And, I mean, listen, Mitch, after the years of training and what you've done, you've got extremely strong hips. Your base is strong. And when you have that kind of a base, once you learn to be able to transfer the weight from here to here, and it's a different ball game. Now you're dealing with somebody that can not only submit you, take you down, but they can knock you out cold. And that's got to be a beautiful feeling. Now, I know how smart you are, Mitch, and I know you fight to your strengths, like every smart fighter does. But it's got to feel good, though, to get in a position and in a place where it's iron against iron. You are going against some of the best guys in the world, training on a daily basis, and you feel that, every day when you get done, you're a better fighter because of what you just went through.
Yeah, Eric Paulson is the biggest person you got to have that training sandwich. You got to have guys that are below you for you kind of mash on. You got to have guys at your level to push you, and then you got to have guys that are better than you that are gonna make you strive to be the best. So and I have all those things available to me, and that makes a big difference. And I think that's why I'm able to progress and get better, and just with that perspective, it allows me to get better faster.
Now, Mitch, I want to kind of divert a little bit from the MMA and the jiu-jitsu, and I want to talk about what you're doing as a man with your education and continuing to move forward outside of the fight game. That's impressive to me. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. I'm going back to university. I'm only taking a couple classes to start off with, and just kind of, I think a lot of, especially athletes, they just try and jump 2 feet in, and they're taking 5 to 6 courses a semester, and they get overwhelmed and they hate it. They drop out, everything. I'm taking a couple just to get better. The best part of it for me at least gives me more access to the university wrestling team, which is the University of Alberta Golden Bears. They're a great team, great coach under Owen Dawkins, Dustin Hellwig, there's Mike Asselstein. They're all great wrestlers, and I just is slowly kind of like build it up. I'm thinking long term. You slowly get those credits I need. I'm not going to jump in and expect to start my new career tomorrow. It's about kind of like putting those pennies in the bank. So I'm very lucky to have support from the athletics department and from my coaches and my teachers and professors. So it's important to me to always be learning and always improving myself. And that's always the goal for me. That's the next thing I'm really looking at. I think it's going to be fun next semester. Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. If you're on social media, you've most likely seen my father, who is he's very proud. My mom, my stepmom, everyone, my lovely girlfriend Sarah, they're all very supportive of what I do and of me. And I couldn't. I'm so lucky, and blessed is a word that a lot of people use, but I truly feel fortunate and blessed to have the people I do around me.
Well, people talk about karma, and I don't know whether that's true or not, but I can say, Mitch, that you're a genuine man, you're an honest man, and there's no sugar, there's no shit. You don't talk, you don't kiss ass, you don't
No.
talk, you do it what it is, you bring it every time, and that's why, people love to watch you compete, and that's why you have so many fans, and they're growing, because a lot of times you see where only the big strikers come in and they reign for a very short period of time, because when your game is just throwing bombs, you're going to catch a couple bombs, and it just doesn't last. And Mitch, you have progressed to the point with your jiu-jitsu, like I said, as a black belt world. You are now on a different level. You moved to JacksonWinkeljohn. You made that change. You got out of your comfort zone and you got yourself in a position where you have to get better. You have
Oh
no
yeah.
choice.
No. Yeah. But that's really what it should be. Is um, you know, no flowers grow in the comfort zone. You know what I mean? If you want to be big fish in little pond, you're never going to get better. You want to control, you want to be the big guy at your gym where you're kicking everyone's ass. That where guys are below you and you never teach them, your little tricks. It's baloney to me. And for me, the information's out there. You just have to go get it. There's no secrets. You just have to go find. You just have to go find the information. It's out there. Go grab it. And unfortunately, it's outside of the comfort zone, and you got to work for it. Too many people feel like they're entitled to this information or entitled to, and it's a problem, and it gets to me. And and granted, as we've talked about, I've been fighting for a while, and let alone the real veterans of the sport, where they were paying to fight to fight. You know what I mean? And I feel bad for those guys, because those are the true pioneers of the sport, and they don't get the credit they deserve. And I can't imagine, it probably makes them sick to their stomach, where they see these guys that well, I need to be making 5-5, my first pro fight, and it's like, hey, man, I lost money on my first couple pro fights. I just wanted to fight, I wanted to compete, I wanted to get better, and people demanding sponsors and sponsorships makes me sick. And then, you know what I hate even more is these people that pretend to be something they're not. I've seen a couple of people where they try and take someone else's stick, and it's just like, what are you doing, you pigeon? Like, that's not you, and you're faking who you are to try and be someone else. It's a bunch of baloney. I hate it. I'm happy with who I am. I don't pretend to be anything I'm not. And love it or hate it, I have to be me. Because if I'm not, then I'm being something I'm not, and that's not the way for this sport to go. I think, we have too often we have these guys that, you got to make noise to get a little bit of the promoters to want to focus their attention on you, but you got to be true to yourself. You can't be someone that you're not, and I hope that for me, I've always believed fighters fight, talkers talk.
That's right. And Mitch, I'm going to tell you something right now. The guys that are doing that, they can only do it so long. It's real easy when you're just being you.
Yeah.
For the better or the worse. If you don't like you, don't look at you, but this is who I am. It's easy when you're being you. It's really hard to be somebody else all the time, and you will be exposed. And in this sport, you're never more exposed than inside the cage when the door shuts and you run into somebody that has a will that's a little stronger than yours.
Oh, totally. It's like telling a lie. You got to remember all these little lies. Just be you. Do the hard work. Work your butt off. Say your prayers. Eat your vitamins. Go old school Hulk Hogan, but eat your vegetables. But Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? But you gotta be true to yourself. And unfortunately, I see so many kids. I use that term loosely, but like these younger 20s, these guys that don't know any better, and they think that they need to have a gimmick or a shtick, and it's just you want to take them and just shake them and be like, hey man, just be you. You're awesome. Be you.
That's it. The Conor McGregor syndrome, that's kind of started to grow, and the entertainment side. But listen, Mitch, I want to kind of get away from the fighting aspect because you're more than a fighter. You're more than a black belt. You got to have some hobbies. What does Mitch Clarke do as a hobby and just to have fun and relax and just get out, besides with the family?
A couple things, like I used to collect like super retro video games, so like Super Nintendo and Nintendo and N64, those kind of things, and retro cartoons has been my new big thing. My girlfriend and I on Sunday mornings before I have to go to practice, I'll make breakfast and then we'll sit down, we'll watch cartoons together, and it's kind of like the old school Saturday morning cartoons that we do it on Sunday. I find it's fun, a nice bonding experience, and it has that nice little sense of nostalgia. But the big thing I've been really trying to get into is cooking. I love cooking. I like cooking for other people. I don't think I could ever be a chef because you don't get to necessarily get the same that same feeling that you see a lot of that you do at home where you cook for someone and you get to see it right away. They're just so busy and inundated with cooking so much. I mean, I love cooking. A lot of this camp has been tough, and just in terms of because I'm a really big lightweight, I have to diet down, and yeah, food doesn't get to taste as good, unfortunately. I got a couple sneaky recipes I have, but I can't wait to get home. Yeah, they're mine though. But when I get back, I'm looking forward to trying out some new recipes I've kind of learned. Some Korean fried chicken is one thing I'm going to try out, and chicken parm pizza is the big one I've really been looking into, and where the chicken parm is the actual crust of the pizza. So I'm looking forward to that, and I feel like you got to be a well-rounded person. It's easy to get inundated with fighting and make it consume your whole day, but the big thing is you got to do other stuff. Fighting shouldn't define your whole personality. That's pretty tough,
That is so true, Mitch. And it takes experience to get to that point where you're able to understand it, and you can take your body to a certain point and know when you need to heal, know when you need to back off. And just so you know, Mitch, I actually went to Culinary Arts for a while.
Oh, really?
Now I'm ADHD, so I got really bored really fast. But I'm a great cook, man, and I can promise you, if when I come to Canada, if I'm able to get with you, I promise you, I can put a meal on you that will knock you out and put 10 pounds on you overnight.
Deal. I'm down for sure, man.
Mitch, thank you so much, brother, for coming on the show. It means a lot to me, and I want just to ask you one thing before your shout-outs, because you got to talk about any sponsors, the people that have helped. It's so important for them to get that recognition. But do you have any words, or have you trained anything special for Alex White?
You
don't talk a lot, so I know you're not going to be saying stuff to Alex, but anything you could give us as fans.
I've just he's well-rounded. He's gritty. I'm coming in good shape. It wasn't so much during the camp that I really worked on certain things. It was before camp. Is all the real work, the long-term work is done in the off season. I've been training a lot of different things, but the big thing is I got to give a big shout to Cam Weeks and Luke Lego. They're my strength conditioning coaches at Athics Performance. They used a new system that they had just been using, and it made me a lot stronger in a very short period of time, and working on stuff like explosiveness. I'm very fortunate to have those trainers in my life and be able to really work with them, and they made a big thing. So, using the fact that I'm strong, I'm a strong kid, and I'm going to come in shape, and I'm coming to do my thing. And, I'm looking forward to it. I'm happy, and, I'm looking forward to UFC 215.
Mitch, again, thank you so much, brother, for coming on the show. And the fans, they appreciate it more than you know. And listen, I have to tell you, I'm going to be coming and making food for you guys at some point. And I will be talking to your dad. I won't say his name, but I'm going to get to him. And I'll be bringing some Alfredo and all kinds of stuff to just make you bloat, and then you can grapple with, no, never grapple with me. I take it back. Listen, guys, Mitch Clarke, it's an honor. Mitch, thank you so much, brother, for coming on. And do me a favor, after this fight, come back on the show for me.
Deal. I'm down for sure.
Thank you so much, man. Hey, listen, guys, for Modern Pugilist Entertainment, for Mitch Clarke, I'm Dan Cox. We will see you next time.